Hello friends, I'm George, the nice medic gentleman. Welcome back to the channel guys, I hope that all of you are doing well. Today I'm going to share my first impressions on 4 fragrances from the brand of French Avenue and Fragrance World that at least package wise look super luxurious. Now all 4 fragrances have 3 things in common. The first one, as I said, is that they come very impressively packaged. The second thing is that they feel of a very high quality, at least the scent itself from my first tries. And the last thing is that they're quite pricey. But let's take a look at all 4 of them. They are Elysian, Elysian Onyx, Muse and Inesh. Now the reason why I unpacked all 4 of them off camera instead of in front of the camera like I usually do is because all 4 of them come in these huge ass boxes that are a real pain in the butt to actually unpack in front of the camera. Now I'm going to show you up and close how the packaging and the bottle presentation of all 4 looks right now. So let's take a closer look. This is how the presentation and the bottles of the 4 fragrances that I'm taking a look today look like. First of all, the 2 Muse and Inesh, the 2 that look alike bottle and presentation wise. In both come in this very thick cardboard boxes. One of them is white, Muse and Inesh in a black colored box. You need to slide this inner part of the box out in order to get to the bottles themselves. This is how the 2 bottles look. Again, very similar but slightly different accents on them. Both of them are EDP concentration, although they say parfum here. I'm not too sure whether it's EDP or parfum. Actually, on the bottom there's stickers that say EDP concentration, but both bottles also come in an 80 milliliter size. Both presentations are really nice, but when it comes to the actual presentation, the stars of the show are Elysian and Elysian Onyx. As you can see, first of all you get these outer boxes, then you get these inner boxes, and then this is how the 2 bottles look. Again, super luxurious presentation, pretty much niche style. And also again, the 2 bottles in here, bottle size is 80 milliliters. The first one that I'm going to talk about a little bit more will be Muse Parfum from French Avenue, and that's simply because this is the most feminine fragrance featured in today's video, in this first impression video. This is the sprayer in action. And this actually smells super nice. This is a very sort of a floral forward type of scent that has a very strong jasmine note in the opening, very high quality jasmine note. You get some other flowery notes in the opening, but the main note here is the note of jasmine. There's a hint of a bergamot freshness in here and a hint of sweetness when you first spray it. When this goes into the actual dry down, it becomes sweeter. The jasmine note starts to lose its strength bit by bit, and on the dry down this becomes a little bit more woody. There's a nice strong sandalwood note on the dry down of this fragrance. It also becomes quite a bit sweet from a vanillic note, and all around it's done really nicely. Actually smells super classy in the air. Maybe has a bit of a mature factor to it, maybe for a more mature ladies out there, maybe not super suitable for the younger girls, but all around this smells super nice, especially in the air. Smells absolutely fantastic and a very classy scent, and so far seems to be very impressive. Muse Parfum. The next one that I'm going to talk about will be Inesh Parfum, again sharing the same bottle design but slightly different accents, and this is a perfectly unisex fragrance in my opinion. Now I'm not sure if this is cloning anything just like the first one, Muse, but this in the opening when I first sprayed this one, let me show you the spray in action. This has a slightly different spray with slightly wider distribution. But this, when I first sprayed this one, this kind of gave me a bit of a Tom Ford Black Orchid vibes. Now, not super similar to Tom Ford's fragrance, but definitely something done in a similar style. You get the aromatic properties of Black Orchid, some of the floral notes, although this feels a little bit more woody compared to Black Orchid, and maybe slightly less sweet. On the dry down, this actually becomes quite a bit more woody, and on the dry down, this is somewhat similar to Tommy Hilfiger's Impact Intense to my nose, at least from what I have in my collection, like a more niche version of Impact Intense. It has the same sort of an woody, dry woody style of dry down, but this one also has quite a bit of ambery sweetness, and all around it's done pretty nicely. Again, quality here seems to be absolutely superb, and yeah, almost perfectly unisex as well. Very interesting fragrance. Maybe has A bit of sort of an agar oud note somewhere in the dry down as well, which doesn't feel skanky or animalic. It's just somewhere, somewhere in the background, just to give more full bodied smell to the whole scent. Again, all around quite impressive. The next one that I'm going to talk quickly about will be Elysian, and this is a very interesting fragrance that again feels almost perfectly unisex, maybe leaning a little bit to the masculine side, but has a pretty interesting scent. Again, show the sprayer in action. Good sprayer. And the opening here gives me almost cherry cola vibes. I think there's a cherry note in here. There's quite a bit of sweetness, and also feels quite spicy in the first few minutes. There's a rose note in here which doesn't feel very strong and very overpowering, and it's there simply to add some floral freshness in the opening. On the dry down, this becomes quite more woody, quite more serious. It becomes sweeter. There's a hint of incense in here, maybe a hint of leather, some agar oud, but it retains some of that fruity sweetness, and still retains some of that vibes of a cherry cola. It's a very interesting fragrance that doesn't smell similar to anything that I have in my collection. I'm not too sure whether this is cloning anything or it's being inspired by anything, but this smells quite unique in my opinion. Again, the quality seems to be super high. The performance also of a tester strip seems to be very strong, and it's been quite impressive and a very interesting scent when it comes to Elysian from French Avenue. And the last one that I'm going to quickly talk about will be Elysian Onyx, and I left this one for the last because I'm pretty sure what this has been inspired by, or it's cloning. It's more like an inspiration. Again, let me show you the sprayer in action. This probably is the best sprayer out of all four. And this is very heavily inspired by Memo's African leather. Now, in the opening, smells a little bit different. On the dry down, also smells a little bit different, but I pick up a very strong African leather sort of vibes out of this fragrance. It opens up very spicy, but at the same time quite fresh. I think it has some citruses, maybe something like a bergamot note, a very strong cumin note, although not as strong as I get out of the original fragrance. A hint of sweetness, and also a hint of a leather note. When this goes into the dry down, the spices lose a bit of their strength. The dry down becomes warmer. It becomes quite a bit sweeter, maybe even sweeter than the original fragrance. It becomes more leathery, but not as leathery as I get out of African leather. And all around, it's actually done a very nicely, very interesting interpretation of the original African leather scent profile. And quite impressive as well. And it's another fragrance that, at least off a tester strip, gives quite strong vibes and probably will turn out to be a good performer. And again, another very impressive scent from French Avenue. And so guys, in today's video I quickly shared my first impressions about 4 scents from French Avenue and Fragrance World: Muse, Inej, Elysian and Elysian Onyx. All 4 come super luxuriously presented and packaged. All 4 seems to have super high quality when it comes to the actual scent. And what's left is to test the performance of all 4 of those fragrances. It will take me a few weeks, but at some point I'll do a full review of all 4 because I'm really intrigued by all of them and quite impressed. I hope that you found this video interesting. If you did, give it a like, and I also hope that you're going to join me tomorrow for your daily dose of some fragrance content. And until then, stay safe and bye bye.